the whole 4D pop collection, which is a bunch of components that will help you to develop a lot of things. But now you can manipulate all these components any way you want. Also, the 4D SVG component is available, and the 4D SVG area. Also, the interface for 4D Write Pro, the one of the widget, because sometimes you may think, oh, all right, this has too many features, or it lacks some features. So now you have the ability to modify that component to the way that you want.
Did you say that source code is available for them?
Yes. For all these components, the source code is now available. As well for the 4D quick report, or as well for the 4D label wizard. So in case you say, all right, you know, this component is lacking a feature, you can create your own feature and integrate that feature into your applications. So this source code can be downloaded from the forum. The last set of source codes is available for 4D v16 R6. So if you go to the forum, of course you need to sign in. And then you will find this part, and in here you will find this link, publication of components source code. And then you go to this part, and there you will have it for all the different versions. In this case, the latest one is 16R6, and then you can download the source code for them. So these are the ones that are available right now. Who of you create your own components? Who of you are familiar with the components architecture? Awesome. So when you check, if you're curious where these components are in your in the 4D application, they are located for Mac here on this part, contents, resources, internal user components, or contents components. So what are the steps to customize your internal component? Of course, you go to the forum, you download it, you unzip it, then you open it with 4D, then you edit it any way that you want. Of course, you compile it. After you compile it, you build it, and then you deploy it. It's pretty simple, roughly the same thing that you do with your components. You just need to go to the build part and go to the section build component. And then you create that component, and when you're done, you take that component and you will place it inside the components folder of your 4D application. Right? I don't recommend you to override the 4D components that are there, so don't place them in this part, right? Because it's not a good idea. Maybe if you have a problem, you don't need to put the original back here, but you have the original here, and you just modify the one that it's in the components folder next to your structure. Let's begin. Yes.
I'm sorry, I missed that. You said don't put them in the database components folder?
No, put them there.
Put them there.
Don't put it in the 4D application. Don't put them in the 4D volume desktop.
Okay, so if you have the same component in both your components folder that's also in the 4D one.
Yes. Right. Yes, the one that takes precedence is the one that is next to your structure file.
Okay, thank you.
That's the one that is going to be loaded.
Thank you.
So let's begin with 4D progress. 4D Progress for macOS. Well, 4D Progress was launched many years ago, and of course, operating systems evolve. But the thing is that the 4D Progress widget has not evolved. In macOS, it doesn't look so different now because, well, this is the 4D Progress that you have in the operating system. And the one that we have right now in 4D is this one, so it's not so different. The main change here is the font. But of course, if you want to make it similar to the one that we have in the OS, we can customize it and just change the font. And then we have a look and feel similar to the original on the operating system. However, on Windows, this was 4D Progress was created for Windows 7. And if you compare what it's like now in Windows 10, well, there is a big difference there. So maybe you say, oh, when your users see this progress bar, you say, oh, it looks a bit old. So you can download the component, modify it, and create something like this. Well, you may say, oh, it's not completely the same thing, but, well, it's a bit similar. What I've done here is that I changed the location of the title and the message, and also modified the stop button. Now it's this X button. So let's try with the I'm going to open the original one. I'm going to use a how do I example, demo, workshop, then new progress. This is what we have right now. Right.
Is that database on the USB key?
That
workshop? Is that database you just showed the workshop on the USB key?
Well, this one is in the how do I on the website.
It is. So that's available, what you just showed us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that can be downloaded. So here it is. This is how it looks originally. I'm going to open the latest one. So after some modifications, now I've modified it in this way. Now I'm going to compile it. Compile, do you want? Yes. Then build application as a component and build. Right. So now, if I see this, for the build, components, yes, this is the one. Right, so now I'm going to use that one. Here, so for the progress build, components. So this is my component, my new component. Just to see, let's see the date. Yes, that's the one. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to create my components folder. I'm going to relaunch the same database. And here it is. It's the new look and feel. Right. If you want to add a start button, here it is. So the same functionality, but with a different look and feel. And I just modified a form. Right. Let's do something more interesting now. This. Do you like the date picker? It's very useful, but again, it has this interface. So I've made some modifications to have it with this interface now. Open. So again, so now with my new date picker, well, for the widgets component, we have this interface. So this is based on the Google Material Design interface. And we can have the same for the date pickers here. And for these ones. But say that you may think, oh, all right, that's a material design, but I want to have the ability to have different themes. So what I did with my component was to have different themes. So let's see a Windows 10 theme. Maybe let's go back to the material one. macOS one, right? Or maybe just a simple theme like this. Notice the position of the buttons on each of them. What I've added here, well, I've modified some methods of the original component, and I also added a new method here, which is called datePicker change theme. Let's have a look at that. So essentially, what it's doing is that it changes the theme, and if it doesn't, if the themes are not defined, it calls this method create themes. But if you want to add your own themes to this component that I created, well, not created, I just modified because I just changed a few things. I'm going to change the project forms. So this was the original one. Now I made it a bit bigger. So I modified the size of the buttons and so on. But essentially the code is the same. And let's have a look at the resources here. So inside Images Calendar, there is a section called Themes. So here I added a few themes, and let's have a look at the Windows 10 one, and there are some SVG files and a definition in JSON for the theme with the different colors, the name of the theme, etc. So you can add your own themes with your own images. Now let's have a look at the 4D Write Pro interface. So you know now that you can add tables to 4D Write Pro. However, the 4D Write Pro interface widget wasn't updated with that. So what I did, I added the ability to add tables in the same way that you add tables when you use Microsoft Word. Like this. So you are in your document, and I've added this button here to add the different, a table, and then that's the end result. Yes. I'm going to show you the demonstration for that. All right, so first I'm going to talk about how I did it. Right. So I decided to add it to the frames part, and I've added that in here. So this is new. I added the tables part, and then I added this button, and then that button, what it does is that it opens this form, and this form, essentially what it has is an SVG grid. And then when you click on that SVG grid, it loads an SVG grid, and then depending on where you are dragging the mouse, then it knows the size of the table that you want. And then I call this method that I added as well, WPI insert table, and then it executes the code to insert the table inside the area where you are. Well, the range, because when you are in 4D Write Pro, you talk about ranges all the time. So I have this component already, and show package contents. Right. So let's open this database of 4D Write Pro. So I'm going to execute it, and if I go to frames, you will notice that it has here the tables. So let's write something, and then I want to insert a table here. So I just click here and select columns and rows. All there. It has a predefined, it has a maximum, yes, but, and then users can just insert the table there, the information there, in a very, very simple way. So those are some examples of what you can do modifying with the source code of the different widgets. All this is on the USB key, but of course you can add your own, yes? On the micro.
Thank you. The place where you downloaded the components, I'm on the forums and I can't find that. Several of us are very interested in seeing just where we can get these from.
All right. Well, let's go here, and yes, because what I did is that I just clicked on the link, Keynote.
We're both on the forum side, we just don't know where to go. There it is.
Yes, okay, forum, let's go to the forum. So you go to 4D Partner channel, 4D Partners Worldwide. So I'm going here to the start page, 4D Partners Worldwide, this one. Go to 4D Partners Worldwide.
Okay.
And in there, you go publication of components source code.
How come we didn't see that?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, now let's change the topic to the 4D server administration. Apart from the different widgets that we have, we have heard a lot of requests that you want to be in control of the 4D administration window, or maybe that you don't want that for the administration window, or sometimes when you have 4D server running as a service, you don't have the ability to access that window and know what is going on with your server. So what we've done is that we've added a lot of commands for you to be able to access that information. So now you don't have to go to the server or get to the server via 4D remote desktop, or remote desktop, or you don't have to use, for example, a 4D client license. But what I've done in this case is that I've created a web interface to be able to access the administration, the 4D server information. I've created this web interface using Bootstrap 4, JavaScript, and jQuery, using as well data tables, chart.js, and I've put everything into a component. This component can be installed in any 4D V16, R6, or superior. The reason why is that it uses object notation. Because all of these new commands that we've added, they basically return objects. And it's much easier to use them if you use the object notation. So the advantage of the web interface is that you can check what is happening in any 4D server installation. So as long as you have a web server license and as long as you have internet access to that server, you can do it via your mobile phone and see what is going on any installation. So this is how it looks like. I'm going to open my, so I have here 4D server v17 running. Right, but you already know all of this. So I'm going to access this via my web interface. So in here, essentially I try to replicate the same things. Only thing that I don't have here is this graphic. But the rest is there. You can see how many users you have, cache memory being used out of the total, the drive, how much memory is for the using, the system information, the application information, license information, but you can also see which users are connected. Right now, I have here one Apple user and one Windows user, which is Carl, which is connected in here. Also, you can look for the processes, the different processes.
Can you show us clicking on one of the users to drop the user?
I didn't add that part
Okay.
of dropping the user.
Is that possible, though?
Yes. Yes.
Or killing a process?
I didn't add that either, but yes.
Is it display only, or can you actually command the server to? Is it display
Yeah,
only?
It commands some things. I have added, I'll show you which things. For example, maintenance, you can do a verify of your data from here. So you can verify, and then this is just done, and then view the report from here. Or, for example, you can see when was the last compacting, or view the last repair report, or do a backup from here. Shows you here, backup in progress. See the information about the application server, the SQL Server. So let's see, for example, the SQL Server. So I'm going to connect with Excel. And then data from where data sources, databases. Of course, I need to start the SQL Server, but I can start it from this interface. So I'm starting the SQL Server here. So again, from so let's select customers. Let's add customers. Next, 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 finish. Okay. I'm inserting all the data for the customers in here. And there it is. I have my information, but here, should have shown that how many SQL users I have. I should get the same thing as in this part. Oh, well.
It's because you finished the query.
Yes, the query finished already and the connection was closed. Yes, but if I have connections open, I will be able to see those connections in there. As well, I can see the state of the HTTP server. If some requests are being accepted, I can restart the web server from here. And I also have the RealTime Monitor as well. So I'm going to run this process that it makes a lot of queries using a lot of processes. So I can see here what is going on. And of course, in the real-time monitor, you see which operations are slow. So you can pause that and see what type of operation is that one. It was sorting on this table, on this machine. So you have all those informations in there.
That's very interesting. And what I'm really curious is just what internal 4D command are you using to find out that information?
Yes.
And how often are you polling the server for that?
Right now, I'm using 5 seconds.
Okay.
Yes.
Seconds he makes that call, gets back that data and display.
Yes, also you can search here the processes. So for example, that one was called, so for example, if you have SQL, or you can look for web here, right? Yes, so let's have a look at the source code of the component. It's called server admin. Explorer. And of course, you're curious about to know how is this installed in the actual database. So let's see. I will begin with this. How is this installed in your database? So this is everything is running on the web connection server. Why? Because I like a lot using the on web connection method, because you have everything centralized, right? So this is a component method as a web connection, and let's have a look at that method here as a web connection. So this method is divided into 3 parts. One part for handling the page's URLs. Essentially, if I see this URL, it will send this file. And so another part is a part of the asynchronous calls, depending on what I want to get. If you want the application server, the system info, process info, and then there is another part to see the logs. So let's have a look at the system info one. So essentially, I'm calling this command, get system info. So that's a new command. See the documentation for get system info. So you just call it. It was created in V17. Yes, and actually it was in beta for V16 R6, right? But now it's this one. So you get all this information returned in objects. And it gives you information about the network interfaces, information about the processor. Actually, the latest release, the one that you have in your USB keys is not going to work for this part, because this attribute was changed. It has a long word operating system version. It was shortened to OS version. Machine, all the codes that you have, uptime. Yeah, so let's have a look to this. Go to this one, uses exactly that one. When I make that call, performance network, it's calling system info. I'm getting a JSON, and then with JavaScript code, it's very easy to extract that information and put it on the interface. As you can see, it's doing that periodically. What else? Let's have a look at the license one. That's in app config. So essentially, I just call different. Sometimes I need to call different existing commands, and then I create the JSON, and then I do web send text as JSON. This one for the users, actually the SQL config. This one, it has some information about the licenses, and now you have this command get license info. And get license info, it will return a huge object with all the different licenses that you have for the write licenses, for the view licenses, all the licenses that you have available in that server. All that in just calling one command, returning a big object. Let's have a look at the different actions here. So I have the action to start, stop, restart the SQL, or for example, the web restart. Actually, web restart, all right. Web restart has a gotcha. Because initially, when I programmed this, I just executed a web stop server, web start server. But when I put that into the component, it didn't work because you simply lose the context, right? So you need to launch this in a separate process for it to work. But in interpreted mode, worked. But if you stop the web server, you simply lose all the context of the connections and everything and the process. So now it would simply die there. That's why I had to put that into a new process. But as you can see, you can call any 4D code that you want to add in there. If you want to play with this, you can go to let's see the HTTP server information. You can try to open this IP address, and then you have to add /admin/ini. Maybe with admin, yes, /admin/ini. And then, as you can see, it's a responsive interface. Right. Oh, it's simpler if I just do this. Right. So it's very handy if you want to use it in your mobile phone to look for different installations that you have without going in there directly. And as you can see, well, you can do some maintenance operations like do a verify, do a backup, or just restart the SQL server or restart the HTTP server.
Couple of questions. Number one, maybe I'm being a dope again.
Where's the source code to this?
Yes, the source code.
It's not on the key that I can find it.
Really, it should be on the key. Well, it's a component called, it's a database called server admin.
Server admin.
Look on here.
It should be. Yeah.
I'm seeing compiled, but not.
Is the compiled one, not the interpreted?
No interpreted.
You plan on releasing it?
I will make sure that you will get
Okay,
it.
so I'm not being a complete dope. All right.
Not at all.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
No, the dumb one was me that didn't put the source code.
Item number 2, I apologize. I need you to go back a little ways. You did a demo of you pulled up Excel and you used Excel to pull data from the database using SQL somehow, and I turned away when you were doing that. Could you show that one more time, pretty please?
It's a built-in Excel feature.
No, yes, it's a built-in Excel feature. Yes. Is your database set up as an ODB source? Yes.
Okay, all right.
I have
it is using ODBC. All right.
It's using ODBC.
I
Yes.
just wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
Yes.
I got a question. You showed the information page for the Git server information,
Yes.
documentation. Can you show that web page again? The one that returns the giant object of all that information?
Yes. Is this one?
No.
Yes.
4D documentation.
The V17 documentation that showed that big object of information.
What all the constants were?
Well, yeah, right
This one.
there. If you scroll up a little bit, isn't there something in there called failed automatic license updates?
Or maybe no.
I thought I saw something about there was information about maybe
The
it's-
licenses.
Yeah.
All right. That's another command. That's this command, get license info.
Okay. And is that in there? Something about failed automatic? Yeah.
Renewal failure count.
What's that all about? I haven't seen that before.
Let's see if it says here. It's the number of successful automatic renewal attempts for at least one of the product licenses.
Yeah. What's that about? Automatic renewal. So we don't have to keep putting that stupid thing in every year when we renew our partner license and other things. Is that what that's about? Or do you
Yes.
even know?
Yes, well, it tells you how many times it's failed to renew the license.
But I wasn't aware of any automatic renewal feature in 4D.
Oh, yes.
Oh, there is?
There is for the R releases.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I guess I better.
For example, if I go here and open my licenses manager, there you have this button here, refresh.
Okay.
Done. Okay. So you have these references here. So now, to conclude, 4D developers can now customize 4D Internet components, which give them the ability to improve their interfaces using 4D source code. Actually, that's internal components. Customization is done with pure 4D code, and the process is very, very easy, as you were able to prove. The deployment of customized components is done by just replacing the standard components with the new one. And of course, having a web interface for the 4D server administration allows you to manage many databases using your mobile phone. Excellent. Do you have any questions? Well, everything was clear with all the questions that we had during the session. Yeah, one more.
Sorry.
I had just one question about, for instance, the login dialog that is presented by 4D Server, where it shows all the users in a client, a server client database.
Yes.
So that dialog, is that, for instance, customizable?
You can create your own. You can override that system. You can override the change in the way that you log in. Yes, but that's customizable. Yes, but that's
okay.
another topic. Yes.
Oh, and for modifying the internal components, also the source, like the alert dialog, is an internal component, isn't it? I mean,
All right.
just for example.
Yes, but that one is not. Is the one those components that are made with pure 4D code?
Okay.
But that one is not pure 4D code. That one comes with.
Not that I care about the alert dialog, we can make our own, but I'm just thinking things that are truly kind of the internal components of 4D, are those ones excluded of what you're talking about?
Yes, well, just to give you an update here, another component that is planned to be here on this one is the query component, for example, right? That one is not there yet.
Oh, okay. So that's
Okay.
going to be released at some point.
At some point, you will have the source code for the query component, but that one is a bit more complex, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.